Good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is Paulette Maluski with Kirkwood Community College Corporate Training, formerly KTOS, and I'm very excited to have you with us this morning. Our speaker today, Hollie Trenary, and if you haven't had the opportunity to hear her speak or talk with her, she's an amazing dynamic leader, community advocate, and passionate volunteer. So who better to lead a workshop on time management? Currently, she serves as the operations manager at the Cedar Rapids Public Library, having shifted from the corporate world to focus on a community-based profession. She is a project management professional with the PMP certification with 17 years of experience in project management, change management, lean, strategic planning, and organizational leadership. So I think she's well informed on this topic, and I'm very excited to hear what she has to say and hope you are too. With that said, welcome, Hollie.
Thank you, Paulette. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that you took the opportunity to join us this morning to talk about the Intentional Workday. This is just a little bit of a snippet of a bigger training, obviously, but I have some tips and tricks that I want to share with you this morning. And just to kind of get you thinking, as I was driving down to Kirkwood this morning and thinking about intentional workday and what it means, we hear a lot about time management and how in our lives and in our workday that we want to manage our time. I think, I always say that that's sort of like work-life balance. I'm not sure that we're not all trying to manage our time and that we're not all trying to find some sort of balance. And I want to go a little bit deeper and give you guys some tools on how you might, approach your day a little bit differently than just thinking about it from a time management perspective. We all have a ton of things to get done. And the concept is about getting intentional. And the thing I was thinking about this morning was, there's probably a lot of folks on the call, or if you're not one, someone who works out. And generally we think about what is the best time of day to work out for us. Some people like to get up really early in the morning and work out and get their workout done. Some people work out right after work. We think about the best time of day for us to get our workout in, but do we think about the best time of day to get the rest of our work done and to organize our day in that way? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. The quote that I want to start out with is, the bad news time flies. The good news is that you're the pilot. We can let our day happen to us. So we can walk into work, walk into our lives every morning, whether we're in the workplace or whether we have work from home or other types of things that you're coordinating in your day. We can just let the world and that schedule happen to us, or we can become the pilot of our day and of our schedule and try to navigate through and have a little bit more control over that. So the big idea for our small amount of time here this morning is to set intention for the day. We do this first by identifying what is our best time of day. When do we function the best? So just like in the example I was sharing about the workout, do we get up and hit it right first thing in the morning, or are there other times of the day that we work best? And then we're going to spend some time talking about rabbits and turtles. So when you leave the session today, you're going to start thinking about your day as rabbits and turtles. I like to use symbols when we go through a training like this, so it kind of gives you something else to think about. So we'll start with rabbits and turtles. We'll start with that second point there. And this meme, although may not be super clear, I don't know that it's the best quality. I found it and it sums up in one picture what I want to talk to you guys about when it comes to rabbits and turtles. I think this meme actually is trying to depict the fable of the tortoise and the hare, but it also fits really well into my big idea. So we have our turtle at the bottom. He's smiling, just going on about his business like we know from the fable. And up top, we have our rabbit who's really stressed out. He's got a lot of things to get done. He's got the stopwatch in front of him, and he's riding on the back of that turtle. he can't get as much. He's not accomplishing what he wants to accomplish because his mode of transportation is that turtle. So I want you to take a second. If you have a piece of paper, make a few columns. Just draw 3 lines in the middle of your piece of paper. And let's get some column headings. Let's do rabbits, turtles, and then we'll put the stopwatch on there. We'll take all of the elements from this meme. We have our rabbits, we have our turtles, and we have our stops. So as we think about our day and the things that we may encounter in our day, what are the rabbits? What are the things that are super easy for you to get done, that are quick and easy, and things that, what I would typically say, you can rock and roll with? Second nature to you. It's stuff that you do day in and day out, every day. It's a task that you have to do. And again, you can do it in your sleep, driving to work. If you drive the same route every day, you probably could do that blindfolded. But specifically in your day, whether it be at home or at your work, different assignments that you have, what are those rabbits? Your turtles are the hard stuff. Maybe you're having to write a proposal. Maybe you're writing a grant application, something that you have to really dig into. There's a lot of research. It's hard. It may not be hard, but it's just labor intensive. It takes a lot of your time and a lot of your energy. And when you dig into a rabbit, you know you're not, I'm sorry, when you dig into a turtle, you know you're not coming up for air anytime soon. So think about, maybe jot down, what are the turtles in your typical day? And then what are the stopwatches? What are the interruptions that happen? We have our office talk. We have those folks that come in and stop by, the drive-bys, the interruptions. Maybe you're in a customer service environment or a client support environment where you're getting phone calls constantly throughout the day. Or you have meetings. Maybe there's several meetings that get scheduled that you don't really have control over, but somebody tells you you have to be there. So those are kind of the stopwatches. The things are the interruptions in your day. So I want you to think about those. Hopefully you've had a chance to write those down, and we're going to hold on to that, because the next thing that we want to talk about here is our best time of day. I've alluded to this a couple of times already, but I really want you to think about, as you start your day and you go into work, do you put the same intentionality behind, okay, I've got this finite amount of time, give or take a few, that I'm supposed to be in the office and to get my work done? Do you kind of set your intention for what you're going to get done at what times of day and what's going to be productive? Sure, you might say, oh, I have this big meeting this afternoon, so I'm going to try to get X, Y, and Z done. But really thinking about, I know that I work best in the morning. So here's our cup of coffee. For me, if the earlier I get up in the morning and drink my coffee and have time to sit and reflect and kind of gather my thoughts for the day, the more productive I am. So I know that I'm a morning person, and I can really get a lot of things accomplished in the morning if I set my intention to do so. There are some people, I'm not sure who those people are, that after lunch is really when they start to rev up. They have to get to work, get their cup of coffee, do a few drive-bys with their coworkers, maybe check some emails, then we're going to go to lunch, and maybe after lunch we start to get some productivity out of that employee, or maybe late in the afternoon when that clock starts getting closer to 5 and you procrastinate and you know you've got to get some things done. Late in the afternoon might be helpful. And then we have those folks like my husband who can accomplish just about anything after 9 p.m. I'm in the bed, I'm reading books, I'm winding down for the night. But we have a lot of people, I would like to say younger people, but that's not true, because all ages really can focus at night. I have a lot of mom friends who come home, take care of kids, husbands, the dads do this, and then come 8 o'clock when the kids go to bed, they rock and roll and get a lot of things done. The point is, it's important for you to know what your best time of day is. if we think about the best time of day, and we know that we get up, we have a cup of coffee, we get into the office, we need to align our turtles and rabbits to our best time of day. So those of you that work in the chat, I'd like for you to throw out your answer to this question. Once you recognize your best time of day, when do you work on your rabbits? Do you work on your rabbits during your best time of day or during your worst time of day? Let me see you guys answer in the chat window if you can. Or tell me about your turtles. Do you do your turtles? What time of day would you do your turtles? During your best time of day? Okay, so for the person that answered, you said best time of day. Is that for your turtles or your rabbits? For your rabbits. So I have one vote for we get our rabbits done during our best time of day. So I see a response that says, I'm getting my rabbits done during my best time of day because it gets a lot of little things off my to-do list and I can rock and roll from there. Got another answer that says it varies. I haven't really put a lot of intention to it. I love this last answer. I hear this a lot. I pick one turtle at my best time of day and then try to knock out my rabbits. Turtles would be your worst time of day because it doesn't take much brain power. I'd work on turtles during my best. The rest is easier, so rabbits later. So ding, ding, ding for Teresa, I think, if I can see that far. I'm going to suggest and agree with some of you. I want you to think about what it would look like to do your turtles during your best time of day. When you have a lot of energy, a lot of brain power, and it's not taken, you're not having to do a whole lot to keep yourself going, I want you to try out putting your turtles in there. And not just one turtle and then the rest rabbits. Like, put your turtles in your best time of day. And set your intention to focus on the turtles first. And then, during the time of day where your brain starts to shut down and you don't have a lot of power and you don't have a lot of energy, start hitting the rabbits. Because rabbits, you don't have to think about. If you're tired, you can rock through that, you can get those things done. What sometimes happens if you're in a lull and you're kind of running out of energy, you hit that turtle, you're just going to go deeper. But a kind of sneaky thing happens if you put a bunch of rabbits in your worst time of day. Sometimes you rock and roll through those rabbits so much that it creates more energy. So if you're checking things off your list during a time of day when you don't have a lot of energy and you're like, hey, this is going pretty good. I sort of think of it like if your car was running out of gas and you're kind of coming to a slow stop, and then a bunch of football players came up behind you and started pushing your car and you start moving a little bit faster. It's just a way to get some more energy in your day. Now, this is a tip and a trick, you guys. If for you it works to have a balance of turtles and rabbits, maybe you start your best time of day with a couple of rabbits that you know you can knock off. You dig into some turtles and you finish up with a couple of rabbits because that makes you feel better, or you kind of, from a morale perspective, feel accomplished. Totally get it. What my thought for you though is to really get intentional about that, to really think about, this is the span of time that I have at work. I know that I'm really, really, really strong at this time of day. And so I'm going to try to get the really hard stuff done. Otherwise, what ends up happening is if you put your turtles in your low point of the day, they just seem to drag on and roll over from day to day. So if you're really strong in the morning, you come in, you knock out all those rabbits, you go to lunch and you come in for your afternoon lull, your success rate in getting that rabbit or that turtle done after lunch is going to be pretty low. You're probably going to carry that over to the next day and then maybe the next day. And oftentimes this is just not the work that we like to do. And so you keep putting that work into the space that you don't feel good anyway. It'll tend to drag on. So I'd like to challenge you to try this out. Try to take some of those turtles, put them in your best time of day, and put your rabbits in your low point of the day, and see if we can't get those rabbits stirring up a little bit more energy later in the afternoon or earlier in the morning, or whatever your best time of day looks like. Any questions? I'm just taking a moment here to look at the chat window. I see a chat message. I like to immerse in my turtles to familiarize myself with a new project when I'm at my best. So great point. Very great point. We tend to, at our best time of day, have the best mindset. We have the better ability to focus and a lot more clarity to maybe dig in and look at something a little more complicated like a turtle. What if I have more than one best time of day? So we're going to talk about that in the next couple of slides. If you have more than one best time of day, I'd say pick and you're lucky. You're one of the lucky few, and pick and choose where you put your turtles and rabbits based on maybe what your priorities are or any kinds of deadlines that you might be getting from your leadership, your team, that type of thing. Yeah, so the question is, what if doing so, the turtles put you behind in meeting deadlines required for the rabbits? That's a very good question. And so I'm gonna move forward here in my slides. And I'm gonna talk a little bit now about just some other techniques, overall techniques for you to think about. So first of all, I love this meme: starve your distractions, feed your focus. So again, this is all about intentionality and focusing on the things that you need to get done from a deadline and a priority perspective. So I'm going to just pull up our starvation techniques here, some things that I want you to think about. So first of all, I want you to set your intention. You'll see me maybe in the next slide or somewhere else if we have the chance to get together and talk. I call this SYI, set your intention. I would like to encourage you, and people do this differently, at the end of the day. So today is Wednesday, maybe 30 minutes, an hour before you leave work today, set your intention for tomorrow. And these bullets are not necessarily in the order in which I'm going to talk about them here, but take 30 minutes during your best time of day and think about what's your daily top 3 for tomorrow. Look at your calendar and make sure that your calendar is set where you can accomplish your daily top 3. What that means is you have to calendar your day. So be intentional about your time. Put your work time on your calendar. Block off chunks of time throughout the day in which you can go in and attempt to be undisturbed. Put your projects on your calendar, your work time on your calendar. Put your meetings, make sure everything is on your, all your meetings, all your times. I would even suggest that you set aside time to catch up on email or voicemail or anything that's just a little task that you have to go through that might create a checklist for you. And then anything that might be a backlog item, whether it's an old turtle that's been sitting around, something that you really need to accomplish. In the ideal state, when someone goes to look at your calendar, you have very few chunks of open time. And if you do have chunks of open time, but you need those open chunks. The other important thing is that you have communication with your team. And that's why I put this daily stand up. I'm a huge fan of the Patrick Lencioni model. If you guys are familiar with the 5 dysfunctions of a team, Patrick has a couple of newer books out and philosophies. The one comes from the book, The Advantage. And I also love his book, Death by Meeting. The daily stand-up is my solution to you guys for your interruptions, your drive-bys. On my team at work, every day at 9:15, we take 15 minutes to check in with each other. We go into a room, we stand up. We actually have one person that joins us remotely, and we just say, hey, this is what we got going for the day. I have a doctor's appointment this afternoon. I have a deadline at 2 p.m. Whatever is going to come up in the next 24 hours that the team needs to know about, it allows us to get that out in a concentrated stand-up meeting with each other, so we can say, hey guys, I got a big deadline that I'm trying to meet today. You're going to see on my calendar I have 2 hours marked off between 10 and noon. With all due respect, if you can avoid me during that time, I would really appreciate it. I'll come up for air at noon and I'll check in with you guys. So it allows you to communicate with your team how you have set your intention for the day. I did this training recently in a local company, and they were like, well, what about all the stuff that happens to me that I can't control? Other people schedule meetings for me. In those cases, I encourage you to have conversations. And again, to communicate with your leader, your team, the people that are scheduling the meetings. Hey, my best time of day is early in the morning. I come in and I try to really knock out a lot of stuff first thing in the morning. If you could avoid scheduling meetings in that time, I would really appreciate it. I promise it's going to come back to you in twofold in my productivity. You got to communicate, let other people know how you are setting your intention and how you are arranging your day. So this last question, what if doing so, the turtles put you behind in meeting deadlines required for the rabbits? You got to schedule the time and you have to dig in. So if you can starve your distractions and make sure that you have the time to dig in, that everything is, you've set your intention appropriately, you know the scope of your project, you know how much time it should take for you to get it done. You just got to dig in and get it done during your best time of day when you've set aside the time to do it. So I'm sure you all have different ways as well, and based on the time, I'm gonna not take comments in the chat window, but I want you to think about that. What are some ways that you can take control of your day? That first meme that we talked about was you are the pilot. This is your day, this is your work day. How can you take control and think about the distractions that happen in your day and try to proactively eliminate those distractions, or at least place the distractions in a better place during your day. So the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Again, we're not going to let our day happen to us and we come in tomorrow and we look at our calendar and all of this stuff is now on your calendar that you had no idea it was going to be there. Instead, you're going to take control of that calendar. You're going to show the times of day that you're available for meetings, and you're going to communicate and make sure that those that are around you know about your intention. So review the process that you're going for every day and set your intention time. So every day we're taking time to look ahead to tomorrow, the next day, next week. What are some conflicts that are coming up on your calendar? What are some things that you can move? If your turtles are starting to impact your deadlines and your priorities, you got to look ahead. You got to plan ahead to decide how you can take more control and get more time on your calendar to address those things. This peer and team accountability is what I talked about with the daily stand-up. But in addition, it's having the conversation with your supervisors, your teammates, letting everyone know that we're trying something new, and ask for them to hold you accountable, but you also hold them accountable to the decision that you've made to take that pilot seat on your workday. And then I have a 6-week check-in and adjustment here. If I came in and did this training for you guys, I would do a 6-week check-in and adjustment. These things that I've talked about very kind of quickly with you guys here, these are ideas, these are best practices. Not all of this is going to work for everybody. I hope that you can take pieces of it sometimes just identifying what your turtles and rabbits are is helpful. Sometimes getting more intentional about how you set up your calendar time is more helpful than understanding rabbits and turtles. I think really applying what your best time of day is to your work day sometimes is a big aha moment. I'd like for you to think about which pieces of this that you could try to implement over the next 4 to 6 weeks. It'll probably take that long for you to really see a difference in your productivity and how things are rocking and rolling, but adjust. Nothing is perfect. You can take bits and pieces of this and start to apply it to your workday and see if it's making a difference for you. So, what questions do we have? Anything new from what we've had so far? I would add that if you could take this back, if you're not joining the session this morning with a team, and you could take this back to your team and say, hey, look what I learned about turtles and rabbits, and let's try this and see what happens. The more you can do it in a team environment and with your peer group or the folks that you work with in your office, the better off I think you are. Recently, I worked with a team that said, you know, we're really struggling with these drive-bys where people are walking by, talking, you know, just doing the office talk. We tried putting up stop signs, we tried putting up visual signals, those types of things. And really, it just needs to be communication. I think doing that daily stand up and telling each other what's going on for the day and trying to respect each other's space, it makes a really big difference. And I can personally say that it transformed the way that my team has functioned, and we have gained lots of productivity just from that daily stand-up alone. Okay, well, if there are no questions, I just want to say thank you all again for joining us this morning, and good luck with your turtles and rabbits. I'll turn it back over to Paulette.
Wonderful information, valuable information. Some of these I've tried, some of them I haven't, and I plan to, so thank you, Holly, especially the looking ahead at my calendar. You know, I look ahead and plan for tomorrow, but I don't always look out. So that was one of the things that I thought I'm going to do differently as a result of today. So I hope everyone who joined us has some things that they also can put into action as a result of Hollie's tips and tricks. If ever you wanted her to come to your organization and speak on this topic or other topics, she's available and interested in doing so. You just contact our corporate training office at Kirkwood Community College. Wanted to let you know that we have some other upcoming things. Our Business Partners Training Consortium starts on September 11th, and that's a year-long series. If you're interested in other similar related topics to doing your best in the workplace, that's available to you, as well as an upcoming accountability and performance management on August 10th. So thank you, Holly. Thank you, all of you, for taking your time today, and I hope it was worth it.